Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two Formula One freaks. I'm your host, Rosa.
Freaks is a good one. and I'm your all along the watchtower host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the final part of the 1968 season and the championship decider. Let's go.
Did you like Freaks?
Yeah, that caught me out a little bit. And in fact, you've reminded me of something that is borderline for this podcast to mention, but I'm not saying anything deep about it. But there's a comic book series. You might know this because your husband did a comic book called The Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
Oh, okay. Yes,
you heard of them?
I think I have heard of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that made me think of the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
All right.
And they're a group of people that do a lot of things very synonymous with the 60s.
Okay, so we're the Fabulous
probably-
Furry Freak Formula One
Brothers.
podcasters.
Yes, that's right, yes. Okay, so we've got a championship decider on our hands, haven't we? And a big one at that.
Yes. Sorry, you chose a Hendrix song.
Yes.
Yeah.
All Along the Watchtower is just a really cool song.
It's a very cool song. You're kind of losing the connection to Formula One, though, but that was always going to be hard to maintain.
Yeah, there's only so many songs like Drive My Car by the Beatles. There's only so many songs of those. I did give you Born to be Wild.
You did.
It's Easy Rider. So, yeah, in fact, you made that connection. I was just referring to how it was used in the 80s.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We're going to have to think more laterally about these songs and how they might even just tie into the feeling of the year or something. Because I can't even make a connection with All Along the Watchtower.
No, I've just conceded. There's just songs that sound good.
Nothing. Okay.
They're from the year. That's what it is. That's what it's to bring the person back to. Oh, you mean that song was when this was happening?
Yeah, that's the song that was released in that year. Is it the number one? It's not the number one, is it? It's just
not necessarily. No. And interesting you mentioned that because there's been some studies on what is a number one, right? And here's a shocker. For, I think, the Australian charts and probably the British and the US charts, I'm not 100% sure, but Jimi Hendrix is a one-hit wonder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he only had one hit that became number one. And the rest were up there, but they just didn't get to number one because they were probably competing with, a song by Frank Sinatra or someone like that, So it's like...
In Australia, probably an Australian person or a British person.
Yeah.
I bet she had lots of number ones in the US, though.
You'd be surprised. I don't think he did.
Oh, really?
That doesn't mean they're not cult. There's a lot of bands that are surprisingly one-hit wonders. That technically they're one-hit wonders, but they're huge bands.
Yes.
I think Radiohead is a one-hit wonder.
Oh, wow.
But they've got a monster following.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a surprise. So I wonder if this championship decider is going to be a one-hit wonder for that winner.
Oh, good segue. Good
Pretty
segue.
Average. Well, let's see who's in the running.
Well, actually, it can't be. There's the three have already won one. Well, hang on. No, Stewart hasn't won any.
Stewart hasn't won any.
Holmes has.
Hills won one and Holmes won one.
Yeah.
So this is all about, can Stewart be a one-hit wonder?
Well, we know that he's not.
Yeah. Well, some of us may not know.
Okay, sorry.
Some people really angry you've just done a spoiler.
Whoops.
And we have to thank Mike Lang for these. We name these seasons what he calls it in his Mike Lang book.
That's
called Grand
right.
Prix.
Yes.
And this particular season he called Ford-Cosworth Domination. But sometimes he'll just say Clark and Lotus Supreme.
Yes.
He just gives it away.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas this time he knew to keep it secret. So good on him for that.
Well, it's not that secret. Ford-Cosworth Domination. Oh, I guess there's other cars using the Ford-Cosworth. Is that what you're saying?
So, in fact, are all three cars using the Ford-Cosworth? Yeah, they are. Yes, all three drivers.
Okay.
So we don't know which one.
Okay.
X was the only one that wasn't driving a Ford-Cosworth.
And he's out of it now due to his broken leg.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 races to go.
Yes. Race 11 of 12, the United States Grand Prix. This race is at Watkins Glen on October the 6th, 108 laps, 22 drivers with 20 participating in a grid formation of 2x2x2. So we're back at Watkins Glen, and now the 2 USAC drivers, remember the USA Club, drivers of Andretti in the Gold Leaf Lotus and Unser in the BRM were finally allowed to make their race debuts.
Wow, that's a long time. But also Derek Bell was now in the Ferrari team, taking over from a recovering Jackie Ickx, as we said, with his broken leg.
Yeah. So I wonder why they couldn't have a special rule. Any points you earn go to X. It doesn't work that way in life.
Oh, gosh.
That would be funny. Then everyone would be, I don't even want to go there. It'd be complicated.
No.
So, you get Moss coming back and everyone coming back doing patio drives.
Can you drive for me? Can you drive for me? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so the first practice session was relatively quiet, but started to become active towards the end when the track dried out. So Unser in the BRM crashed into a guardrail. And while he had no injuries, he caused quite a lot of damage to the BRM. So the first practice had Stewart setting the fastest time in the Matra Ford.
Well, that's pretty good. He hasn't really been up there, has he, in the recent races? So good to see him back up the top.
Yeah, I mean, he won German Grand Prix with that special 4-minute win, but then he got no points and 1 point.
Yes,
so you're right.
Yeah.
So it was Saturday afternoon, which astonished everyone, for at the very end of the session, Andretti set the fastest time of 1 minute 4.2 to snatch pole in what was his real Formula One debut.
Yes.
Yeah. So Stewart's time from Friday was still good enough for second on the grid, and he was marginally ahead of Hill in the Lotus.
Hang on, you've written something for me here that does not make sense.
Well,
Hill's newbie number.
Yeah, it's Andretti.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah. So Andretti beat Hill.
I forget that Andretti was in the Lotus. Of course he was.
You keep thinking he's in a Ferrari, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, I have to fix my mind in that regard too.
Yeah, I can't unlearn that. Okay, yeah, so Andretti beat Hill. Ooh.
Yeah, on his debut. So not a good sign for Hill, who wants a championship, but I'm sure it's good to have a teammate in front of you.
Yes.
That's going to help you.
Yeah.
You think so anyway.
Yeah,
so to race day, it was the American Idol who shot into the lead. Remember, this is the US Grand Prix.
Yes.
Followed by Stewart and Hill in the Lotus. And it wasn't long before Stewart took the lead from Andretti under braking. So there you go.
He would have gotten booed.
I haven't mentioned Holm yet. Why haven't I mentioned Holm?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Where is he?
Yeah, he'll come up later, I'm sure.
Okay.
He'll quickly drop behind Eamon because, of all things, his steering column worked loose and actually trapped his hands against the switches of the car.
What?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
This is all to himself in his own car.
Yes.
Right? So no one knows this. It's not like telemetry and he's got a problem. This incident with Hill's car gave Stewart and Andretti some breathing space, and they pulled away and built a 2-second lead. There was little change among the leaders, and on lap 11, Eamon spun in front of the pits and lost 6 places.
Eamon.
About this time, the local hero, as in Andretti, was in trouble as his nose section was scraping the ground due to a broken support bracket. He did his best to hold on, but by lap 14, he had to stop for nearly a minute to have the issue taped up, thus putting him out of contention.
That's a bit of an
Does it take a whole minute? A whole minute? Does it take that long to tape something up? Maybe I'm underestimating what's involved here.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me. I've never worked on a Grand Prix car.
Yeah. In the meantime, Stewart had built up a lead of over 10 seconds over Hill, while Holm was a close third.
Okay, so we've got all 3 championship contenders in the one spot, all leading positions of the race.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This was the case because, unfortunately for Holm, he spun on some oil and damaged a brake pipe. As a result, he dropped to the back of the field and to have this issue fixed and to have his remaining brakes bled.
Okay, that I'm assuming would take some time.
I'd assume that he's been given a kick in the guts for his championship.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
At lap 20, Stewart's lead over Hill was out to 15 seconds, and then a further 10 seconds back was Gurney, Surtees and Rindt. There was a gaggle of pit activity as a range of drivers attempted to fix their cars. Of note was poleman Andretti again. This time he had clutch issues and he would retire soon after.
Wow.
So pretty active first race. Like up in the lead and all that sort of stuff.
And he's had some bad luck.
Yeah. Well, he's in Lotus, remember?
Yes.
But Lotus have been good this year.
They've been good this year.
Yep. Yeah. So by lap 60, Stewart had built a strong lead of 34 seconds over Hill in the Lotus. Hill himself also had a gap of about 10 seconds ahead of Gurney in the Eagle/McLaren. So he must still be in that McLaren chassis. And then Surtees and the Honda followed. However, the leader Stewart had some concerns as there was the occasional puff of smoke coming from his engine.
Uh-oh. See, it's never good to lead these races.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign. Smoke
No.
never means anything good.
Never does. So towards the end of the race, further retirements took place, bringing the number of drivers left in the race down to 6.
Oh, my gosh. How many single-digit finishes have we seen this season?
I know.
Wow.
So we have seen, So the only material change that took place during the closing stages of the race as Stewart eased off was Gurney was third, slowed with a puncture, which allowed Surtees and the Honda to take third on the second to last lap. Holm crashed out on lap 93 after a drive shaft failure. But he was sort of in the back anyway,
I mean, really, this is just what we knew, that he was out of championship contention, really.
Yeah. The only real excitement was that both Siffert and McLaren, battling for 5th and 6th, both had to make fuel stops and in this process passed each other twice. That's a bit dynamic. As the race ended, even Hill's Lotus spluttered over the line to finish second. So Surtees finished third and Gurney fourth, and Stewart was way ahead in the lead with an easy win.
So that's Stewart's third win of the season.
Yeah.
And so he's now closed the gap on the championship to Hill. So Graham Hill's on 39, Jackie Stewart's on 36, and Holmes on 33.
The Holm can still win it.
But the three of them could still win it. Yeah, any of the three of them could still win it. Yep.
Yeah, so it was of benefit to Holm that Stewart won it instead of Hill.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That would have given Hill 3 more points, and that would have put him just out of reach. 9 points, 32 good drawn level. Anyway.
So the Constructors is also still anybody's game because Lotus Ford is on 53, Matra Ford is on 45, and McLaren's on 43. I think the Ferraris are out of it. They're on 32. I don't think that can do it, but either of those three can.
So it's a very exciting finale in Mexico. We've had a few championship deciders in Mexico, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're up to race 12 of 12, Mexican Grand Prix, Mexico City, November the 3rd, 65-lap race, 21 drivers and a 2x2 grid. So just like in 64, I was thinking 64 before I read this, the championship was open, and just like in 64, there were 3 drivers that could take the championship out in this one race.
All 3 drivers were from different teams.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And it could have been 4, I reckon, if Hicks didn't have his injury.
Yes, and I'm surprised.
I'm sure he would have got.
Surprised you mentioned 64, Luigi. That's a contentious issue.
It is an emotional. Yeah, let's move on before we start reliving that. Yeah, Ferrari could play a part in this. Yeah, let's see. just like they did back then. So on the first practice day, of the 3 contenders, it was Stewart who initially set the fastest time. However, towards the end of the 4-hour practice session, the teams modified their gear settings, and this resulted in Siffert in the Rob Walker Lotus to take provisional pole, followed by Hill and then Stewart.
Say 4 hours.
Yeah.
That is so long. Like, no one would watch that if it was live today.
Yeah.
So many people would not have the patience to watch 4 hours of practice. People don't like practice sessions today, and they're only an hour long.
Yeah.
I mean, people do watch Test cricket, but that's different to practice. Test cricket, things happen, strategy is evolving and decisions are made. Yeah. But 4 hours of practice? Yeah. Wow. Where was Holm?
Well, Holm was a rather disappointing ninth, having clutch issues throughout.
Oh.
Yeah. And about the 4-hour thing, the fascinating thing is it could be that most of the sessions were 4 hours during the year. It's just Mike Lang didn't mention it.
You reckon?
So I suspect, unless you think he mentioned it because it was an exceptional amount of time.
I reckon he's mentioned it because it was different.
Maybe he was there and bored the whole time. Yeah. So the second session was set on Saturday afternoon, and this time it was Stewart's turn to have troubles. He ended up with the 4th fastest time, as it was Siffert who was continuing to make strong progress, and he set a time that was not only good enough for pole, but would be nearly half a second clear of second place Eamon in the Ferrari, or Ferrari's there, Hill in the Lotus, who secured third, and we have Holm in the McLaren up to fourth.
I did read that X was feeling his way in this race as he was driving with his leg in a support. His leg was in a support. He qualified 15 out of 21.
Did he actually enter the race?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. He tried. I mean, he couldn't win the championship though. So
no. Yeah. Interesting that he drove. Why would you if your leg's in a support? And you couldn't win the championship? I could almost understand it if he had a chance, but I don't think he can.
No, he can't.
And did you say that Stewart set the fourth fastest time?
Yes.
Oh,
that's pretty good. But his at least is up there.
Yeah, I guess he had trouble with his car.
Yeah. I wonder if he's still in the brace as well. I think by now, surely he's recovered. Surely bones take the same amount of recovery time whether you're in the 60s or now. So, yeah. So,
now this isn't great for him. He's qualified quite low and he needs to win the championship or come up. He needs to get up there.
Yeah, he does. And he needs to be up there. He's not far off though. So, but there was some other drama, wasn't there, in the Lotus camp?
Yeah, local hero Solana demanded that he use Oliver's car instead. This was despite the fact that Oliver's car needed repair as the exhaust pipes were ripped off. So I don't get it. Why did he want to drive Solana's car?
And what authority and power did he have?
Yeah.
Was he given a huge amount of money? I mean, I can't see Colin Chapman letting this sort of no-name driver make these demands,
Yeah, and I think I don't know, but if the FIA or the organiser had known of these changes of drivers and cars, they probably would have made them both start from the back of the grid. Aren't you not allowed to change your car after qualifying? Was that the rule back then as well?
Well, it's erratic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. We've seen this, and then we've seen it applied and not applied. Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard to know what the rules really were. It seems to be race organizer dependent.
Yeah. Well,
and what nationality you are.
Oh well, Solana was Mexican. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, whatever he said goes.
Yeah.
A little bit like in 2024, Sergio Perez in Mexico ticket sales. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not the first time we've heard this.
No.
And it's not, and it wasn't that long ago that this happened in Italy where they gave an Italian driver an opportunity that maybe they didn't deserve.
Yeah,
so,
that was so wrong.
Yeah.
But not I can see why the Italian organisers did.
So did the race start. As the flag fell, Siffert, who had been dominating qualifying, made a poor start and Eamon hesitated slightly. As such, Hill shot straight into the lead from third on the grid by going through the space between Eamon and Siffert. Is that a nonsense start, Rosa?
I'm gonna say that's a really nonsense start.
Yeah. Okay. So Hill's lead was short-lived though, because as he was heading to the first corner, Surtees, who came from sixth, actually outbraked him. However, Hill quickly repassed the Honda and went on to complete the first lap in the lead.
Okay. Hang on. Did you say what? What's happening? Has Holm recovered?
No. No, that was Surtees who took the lead.
Okay.
Hill retook the lead from him. And the other two championship players were Surtees was in second. So Stewart had moved up to third place from seventh on the grid. And then it was Eamon, Holm, Rodriguez, Rindt, and Siffert. So the championship contenders are in first, third, and where is third, fourth? I think Holm is in about fifth place, but with a gaggle of cars.
Oh, that was a good start by Siffert, at least.
Yeah. A solid nonsense start by Siffert because he fell back.
Oh,
He was in eighth place from pole position.
Oh, okay.
We're confirming the nonsense status.
I'm getting Surtees and Siffert mixed up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, our focus should be on Stewart, Hill, and Holm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the order did change considerably over the next few laps, as there was significant jostling among the drivers. So this included the lead, though, as Stewart took over on lap 5. Remember, Hill was in the lead. So these are the championship rivals, right?
Yeah.
At a similar time, Holm overtook Eamon to move up to third.
Oh, there you go. Now that's a good recovery. Yes.
So we've got the 3 championship contenders running 1, 2, 3.
Okay, game on.
So this 1, 2, 3 wouldn't last, as our pole man Siffert, whose nonsense start put him in 8th, was now back on a charge. So on lap 6, Siffert scurried past Holm for third and then proceeded to close the 7-second gap to the leading pair of Stewart and Hill.
Wow, this is getting exciting. That's pretty good driving by Siffert.
Yeah.
Is he in the Rob Walker Lotus?
Yeah, that's right. He's in the Rob Walker. So it's the same car as the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although we have been known to hear about Colin Chapman saying, well, if you have this car, I'll have fuel injection, you have
non-fuel injection. I still want the advantage. Yeah.
I'm sure that Siffert doesn't have the exact same car.
Right.
I'm almost certain of that. So it gets better because by lap 12, the 3 cars were together, but this time it was Hill leading. So on lap 10, Hull's championship defence was over.
Oh.
As a rear damper broke, which sent his McLaren flying into the guardrails. He was unhurt, but he was very upset by his bad luck.
Bad luck.
The field was already shrinking quite rapidly with others out, including Rindt, Ickx, Beltoise, Solana, so the Mexican hero gone, Eamon and Surtees.
They're both Ferrari drivers. That's a lot. That's a lot of cars. Are we down to single digits again?
I'm not sure, actually. We're not quite, but we're not far off it, I think. We probably will be there by the end of the race because this is early in the race.
Yes.
Because I think it was a 90-lap race. Let me just check. Yeah. Okay. So we've basically got to lap 22. Siffert caught and passed Hill.
Wow.
And then proceeded to pull away.
If he didn't have that nonsense start, he'd be ahead by like a minute by now.
And let's not forget, Siffert's in the Lotus. Okay, it's a Rob Walker, it's a privateer Lotus, but Hill's in the Lotus proper team.
Yes, yeah.
I wonder if there's a little bit of strategy here.
Yes.
But Siffert's joy was short-lived because by lap 25, his throttle cable broke and he required a 4-minute pit stop to fix the issue, which moved him to last place.
That's a killer. Yep.
And so now we had Brabham and Gurney in 3rd and 4th places having a big battle between themselves, albeit 30 seconds behind the battle at the front between Hill and Stewart, which let's hope that's where the cameras are focusing on.
Yeah. Well, and good to hear that Repco is behaving itself for a change and for Brabham in this race.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't just a battle for the lead and the win of this race. It's also for the championship between Hill and Stewart.
Yeah, this is huge. And let's hope it's a clean battle without teammates getting involved.
Well, did you have to go there? I knew you would. I just knew it.
Well, there are, you never know who gets involved when you lap and things like that. But anyway, let's see how this goes. So, unfortunately, the battle for third only lasted a few more laps. Not that we care too much about it, as Gurney retired with a mechanical issue.
Okay.
As the race reached the halfway mark, i.e. lap 23, it's not a 90-lap race, it must be a 46-lap race, Hill and Stewart were only a second apart.
Hey.
And Brabham was 54 seconds further back. Yeah, it shows that the championship leaders were in a class of their own, right? And then McLaren was 4 seconds further back behind Brabham, but catching him. So on lap 38, a gap of 5 seconds suddenly appeared between Hill and Stewart. And the next lap, the gap was 16 seconds.
So hang on, who was leading? Stewart?
Hill.
Oh, Hill. Okay.
Hill was the one that suddenly was 5 seconds of lead. And now suddenly the gap was 16 seconds. So Stewart's fuel pressure dropped, which caused his engine to misfire. At the same time, the handling of the car fell away due to a cracked chassis. It was later to be discovered.
Oh, no. Not like this, Jackie.
Yeah. So, and considering he had a broken wrist, he did well. He did well to be in the running in this thing.
Yeah.
Stewart continued to fall back as he did his best with what was now clearly a hobbled car. This moved McLaren up to a distant second. So really, remember they were like 54 seconds ahead of Brabham back then. So this is obviously a big fallback. So McLaren moved up to second. And as he gained the upper hand over Brabham due to the Australian's car temporarily losing services of first gear and would retire later in the race.
Spoke too soon about that Repco engine.
So at the finish line, Hill won by well over a minute from McLaren in second. Oliver and the Gold Leaf Team Lotus came third, about 20 seconds further back.
Stewart?
Yeah, he would continue on and finish seventh, a lap down. So, I mean, even
Listen
if
to us
retired,
being all upset. I mean, I guess Hill.
Where's our joy for Hill?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just a shame that it didn't come down to a driving battle, that it had like a car mechanical issues decide it.
Yeah, but it's out of a 65-lap race up to lap 38, it was still all in.
Yes, it was.
They were fighting each other at the front, about 50 seconds ahead of third place. Super exciting.
Yes.
I guess you have to concede sometimes in life these things happen, and just because it happened in the last race, you got to remember these happen.
And you don't know. I mean, Hill was 16 seconds ahead of Stewart, and I don't know that the Matra would have matched it with the Lotus.
Yeah, true. And interestingly, I just had a quick look. Both drivers had 5 races of the year where they scored 0 points.
Oh, there you go.
There's an element of justice there, maybe. But Stewart was driving with a broken wrist most of the year.
That's right. So Graham Hill won the championship on 48 points. Jackie Stewart was second on 36, and Denny Holm was third on 33, and Jackie Ickx fourth on 27.
Yeah.
And the constructors, Lotus Ford won it with 62 points, McLaren 49, Matra on 45, and Ferrari on 32.
And BRM 28.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of airtime.
BRM love.
They did have a little bit of a peak at a bit of a spike of success early in the season, but not much after that. So, that's the end of the 68 season. So we'll do a bit of a wrap up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, so my thoughts were the 68 championship was won by Clark's Lotus teammate Hill, who pulled the heartbroken team together and held off Stewart for the crown, which he actually later dedicated to Clark.
Nice.
Yeah. And I personally felt this was a bit of a topsy-turvy season because we had a strong start by Hill. He had 2 wins and a second at the start of the year, and then he scores nothing for the next 4 races.
A bit helter-skelter, Luigi.
Yeah, they're very good rather than topsy-turvy. I wonder if there is a song called Topsy-Turvy. In that time, we had a Ferrari win. We had McLaren's first win. We had Siffert taking a win for that was Honda, right?
No, he did. No, Siffert was Rob Walker.
Rob Walker, of course.
Yeah,
yes, I got it mixed up. Because Siffert does do it for Honda too.
I know.
And a pair for Hull.
Siffert and Surtees mixed up as well. Yes,
they are easy to mix up. Totally. So, so we had a lot of interesting things happen this season, and it's like Hill woke up at the end of the season with a second and a first, and I genuinely believe that if Clark was in that car, he would have easily won this championship, and he would have likely wrapped it up very early, like he did with his earlier championships.
Yeah.
So, I still think Hill won it fair and square, but it was Clark's.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He finished off 1967 really strong, and he won the first race of this season in dominating fashion. So I reckon he would have wrapped it up with a few races to go with what ended up being quite a reliable Ford-Cosworth year. But props to Hill for what was his only second world championship, which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I keep thinking he had more. And he's been in the sport since 58. So it surprises me a little that his first one was in 62 and this is now his second one. So, yeah. But, like you say, just the way that he pulled that team together, giving Chapman a reason to keep going and the team something to celebrate. That's big. That's big what he did. And I'm sure he would have been a lot of sadness as well. So for me, it was the shock to learn of Clark's death.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that's how it happened.
Oh, really? So that was a surprise to you?
It was a surprise. Like I knew he had passed away, but I didn't know that it was in like such a nothing race. Yeah, just so sad. But I understand there's a memorial to him in that spot at Hockenheim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That'd be good to visit if you go there.
I know. Because the track's not used the way it used to be used.
Yeah.
And I think it is a bit overgrown now by the forest because that part of the track's now no longer track. But, yeah, I think one day I'd like to go and visit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, a lot of his percentages still stand today.
Yeah.
So that's unbelievable given, the time that's passed. So
Well, that percentage of race wins in a season stood until 2023.
yeah, exactly.
And that took a sort of unbelievable series of events to beat
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he is absolutely my favourite driver of the 60s.
Yeah. And for me, I sort of feel I'm almost there, but I really hold a candle to Stewart as well.
Yeah.
But then Stewart also holds that candle to Clark. So it's like by default, I have to give it to Clark because Stewart gives it to Clark.
Yes.
And it was a very sad season, 68. There was a lot of not so many, I'm glad to say not so many deaths during the season, but a lot of deaths outside of the season. Beyond Clark, there was Schlesser. Oh, no, it sounds bad, but I've forgotten the other gentleman's name, but there were a few that passed away this year, and it was pretty tragic. And they were very aware of it, even in the video footages that I watched of the YouTube episodes. They talked about the interviewers were basically saying there's been 4 deaths this year, and they were well aware. They counted them, even though they weren't at the races. And I think that was quite good that they were aware of it, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
So we hope to have a much happier 1969 season.
Yes. Well, that's mine to review. I haven't started it yet, and I have no idea what happens in 69. So this is going to be interesting. Do you? You know, don't you?
Fun for you. I do know, yes.
Okay.
And I make no comment.
Okay. Oh, that means you're not going to be happy with it.
Oh, no, that doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I'll come to those conclusions, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, see you all next time for 1969.
See you next time. Oh, don't forget to listen to our 68 TP episode, which comes out before 69.
Oh, yes, that's true.
To see if we still give it to Hill.
Oh, do you reckon Clark's got a chance, Louis?
Never know.
I know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
See you
Bye,
then.
everyone.
Bye. We have a Patreon.
Yay, we're a professional podcast now. So it means a lot to us if you are able to support the F1 Time Portal podcast.
For a small monthly fee, you not only get ad-free podcast content, you will also receive special episodes that are exclusively uploaded for our Patreon financial supporters.
We promise at least 2 additional exclusive episodes each month aligned to the decade we are up to in the show.
And you will also be able to make suggestions about any special episodes you may want us to research and present. We can't promise that we can do all of them, but we will consider them.
So, if that sounds like an entertainment bargain to you, go and sign up at patreon.com/F1 Time Portal today.
If you're enjoying our podcast, please tell your friends and non-F1 friends alike.
Yeah, and don't forget to rate us 5 stars or whatever highest is available on the podcast platform that you use.
We have a range of social media handles for you to connect with fellow listeners, so look up F1 Time Portal on all the usual platforms.
Or visit us at www.f1timeportal.com or email us at f1timeportal@gmail.com.
We would like to give credit to our primary reference materials, a series of books called Grand Prix by Mike Lang.
We also use many other written and digital references, which are in our show notes.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.